Okay, week 12 math review sheet. We'll go with, this video will be 1 through 5. Let's look at number 1. It says, which expression has a value of 4? And then it gives you A, B, C, and D, and it gives you a different expression with each letter. What you're going to need to do is solve each expression to see which one gives you a value of 4, or an answer of 4. So, just looking at this a little bit closer, this is just, I wrote the problems A, B, C, and D on here. And again, this is just using your order of operations. So you do your parentheses first, exponents, which there are no exponents in any of these problems, so you can just go ahead and mark that out. Then you have multiplication or division. Now, if you have both of those in the same problem, you do whichever comes first. Okay, and again, just to review, same thing for addition or subtraction. If you would have both of those operations in the same problem, you do whichever comes first. Okay, so what you're basically going to do is just solve each one of these, and you're looking for one that's going to give you an answer of 4. And once you find that, then you would choose that letter. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, it says write an expression. So now we're just writing an expression. We're not solving. Write an expression to represent 3 more than 6 times 3. So 3 more than 6 times 3. So the key word here is more. Okay, so we know if we get more of something, we are adding to something. So if I give you $5 more, or I give you 6 more pieces of candy, that means you're adding to what you already have. Okay, so keyword here is more. Now, so you're just going to write this as an expression. So 3 more than 6 times 3. So I would write 6 times 3, and then I have 3 more than that, plus 3. Okay, so number 12 is going to look very similar to this one. Just remember that when you see the word more, you're adding to something. You're gaining something. Okay. Number 3, it says a total of 113 people signed up to take tennis lessons at the community center. 5 people can have lessons every hour. How many hours are needed for everyone to have a lesson? Okay, so let's look at this one. So 113 people signed up, and 5 every hour can take a lesson. So again, 113 people signed up for lessons, and 5 people can take a lesson every hour. So they want to know how many hours is it going to take to get through 113 people. So this is a division problem. You are going to divide this. All right, and I'm not going to do the division for you. But one thing I do want to point out, you can see that 113, 5 is not going to go to 113 evenly. So somewhere in your answer, I'm just making this number up. This is an example. So say your answer is 16 remainder 2. Say that's what you get for your answer. Again, this is just a made-up number. So what this means is that it would take 16 hours, but then you still have 2 more people that need to take a lesson. So your answer here would not be 16 hours because you still have a couple people that need to take a lesson. So this answer would be you would need a total of 17 hours to get everyone in. Okay, so if you have a remainder here, that tells you that you can't just go with the whole number, because that wouldn't be enough, because you still have more people. You still have a couple of people who still need to take their lesson. So you'd have to add on another hour to that. Okay, so you're gonna come across that in this problem. So just be prepared for that. But again, it's just division. So you guys know how to do that at this point. And then just remember in your answer, if you have a remainder, you're going to go up to that next hour. Number 4, it says Leah drove 9 8/10 miles to visit her brother, then drove 3 miles to visit her sister. She then drove 12 25/100 miles home. How many miles did Leah drive in all? Okay, your key word there is in all. And that should trigger in your mind that it is an addition problem. An addition problem. Okay, so 9 8/10 miles to go to the brothers, 3 miles, no decimal, to go to the sister, and then 12 25/100 miles to go home. Now, I'm going to have to add this. Now, the most important thing when I'm adding decimals is to line up my decimals. Okay, same thing with subtraction. So, I'm going to line this up for you, and then on the back, you'll do it on your own when you do it on the back side. So, I'm going to start, when you add, you can start any way you want, but I always like to start with my biggest number. So, I'm going to start with that. Okay, now I'll go to 9 8/10. So again, I put my decimal, and I put my 9. And then my last number is of the whole number 3. Now, just by itself, there is no decimal, but I know that if I did put a decimal in this with the 3, it would go after it. Okay? If I put the decimal in front of it, that would make it 3/10, and that is nowhere near the whole number 3. So I'll put my decimal here, and then I'm going to add. Now, if you want to, you can just fill in all the blank spaces here with zeros, if you want to. So I can just put a 0 here, here, here. I could even do this. And then I would add up my answer. Okay, but the most important thing when you're adding or subtracting, it's to line up your decimals. Make sure you line them up properly. Last question, number 5. It says, which symbol makes this sentence true, less than, greater than, or equal to? Okay, so again, just like I have in the past, I just drew a picture to help me solve this one. Again, when you draw your pictures, try your best to make them the exact same size. As you can see, these two are probably very similar to being the same size. And then trying to have equally spaced intervals for whatever your denominator is. So in this case, my denominator is 6, so I've made it into 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my denominator here is 8, so I made it into 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so once I have that, my numerator here tells me to, I'm going to shade in 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My numerator here tells me to shade in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then once I have that done, I can then look at the picture. Now, because I did this freehand and I didn't do it perfectly, equally spaced intervals, it's not as easy to see here. But if I would draw this line up, okay, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be, well, it should be more. So what I did here, I didn't do a very good job of doing my equally spaced intervals. So it should be, this 7/8 should be more. And again, it's not with what I just did here, because I can just tell here that I made this part was bigger than this part. So it was, I didn't do my drawing perfectly. So it's harder to see here. And these numbers are closer together. So the correct answer here should be 7/8. And again, I just didn't do a good job of making these equally spaced. If I would have, you would see that 7/8 would have been a little bit larger than the 5/6. So the correct answer to number 5 is 7/8. Again, just when you're doing it, make sure you're careful. As you can see, I made a mistake, and if I make that mistake, it's easy to think, well, these two are equal. Okay, just be careful when you are making your pictures. All right, so 7/8 is your correct answer, and that will do it for 1 through 5.